And I'm going to pour cold water, like 50-50. So when I say 50-50, water and wine, Richard, can you hand me the wine, please? When I say 50-50 on the water and wine, thank you. It's at an average, you know. You might want to go 2/3 water, 1/3 wine. Ultimately, in the final analysis of your cooking and planning and making these kinds of decisions, you would make that decision based on where this fish stock is going to be used. If you're going to make a velouté sauce, for example, which we're going to do out of this fish stock in this class, and you may be using white wine in a reduction to make that sauce, you may not need as much white wine in the fish stock, if any. You may just want to go all water sometimes, you know. But generally speaking, for multiple uses that are more or less generic, if you will, in nature in terms of the history of using this kind of stock, it's half white wine, half water, dry white wine. So, I'm going to cut that back just a little bit now. Top it off with some water. And the important thing now is to make sure that all of the food is covered with the water. Now I'm going to bring this up to a simmer. We're really going to boil this. We're going to do this at a low to medium simmer throughout the entire time. And once again, just like we make every time we make a sauce or a stock, we always have some container near us. In this particular case, I got this one here, and it's got water in it. This is what we call our little scum pot. So all of the insoluble ingredients that are going to come to the top of the fish stock, we're going to remove them with the ladle, put them back in here. Now the reason we've used this with water in it, so that we can rinse the ladle off every time we do this and not bring any of the scum and put it back into the pot by accident. So all of the scum containers, if you will, should have a little bit of water in them. And they should always be kind of sitting around your stove when you're making a sauce or a soup or a stock. So you have some place to put the skimming and the insoluble articles. So we're going to let this cook and come up to a simmer, and we're going to come back briefly. When it starts simmering, we'll show you a little bit of the skimming on this particular one. So we'll probably have 3 takes on this particular stock today. This stage, and then a little bit of skimming and showing you the level at which it should be simmering. And then when we strain it and remove it, and then we'll take a look at it for its clarity and things like that in the 3rd take on making fish stock. We'll be back when this comes up to a simmer in a second. Okay, now the fish stock right here, which has been simmering for about half an hour now. I'm just taking you over here. I told you this is a 3-take shot on this stock. I want you to see the level at which it's simmering. Okay, and I want you to see the scum that's on it. Not a lot of scum came up on this one. Part of the reason why is I didn't have any heads in there, only skeleton and carcasses. You see. But it's cooking along really well. Let me see how it smells. It smells good. It smells nice. So that's it. I'm just mixing her around a little bit, and we'll be back in, I don't know, a little while, about half an hour. I'll bring you back in here on another take, and we'll strain this, and then we're going to proceed, of course, into making fish velouté sauce after this. It's another lesson within this class. All right, we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, in completion of the fish stock, which I have here, and that which has been cooking for about an hour and 10 minutes. Take a close look at that. It looks a little bit beat up from being cooked, and that's good. From this stock, in this particular class, I'm going to bring you to another lesson. So the fish stock itself is basically finished. I'm going to strain it to a fine screen here. And there is your finished fish stock by itself. Looks good. And you can see how fairly clear it is. It's fairly clear. You could, of course, strain this to a cheesecloth if you want it even cleaner, but we don't need to do that today. So, let me clean up my mess I made here real quick. Inevitably, as a cook, you're stuck with spilling things. It's never going to change, no matter how good you get at this. You get better at it, but not that good. All right. This stock, of course, which is in a completely finished state right now, with the exception of it hasn't been seasoned, because we have no intention to use it for anything special. This is what many fish soup recipes call for. This is what whole braised fish, for example, might call for. You may braise the fish in this, and so on. And there'll be multiple uses for fish stock that you are either already are aware of, or I will make you aware throughout this course. Now, so anyway, there's your fish stock recipe, and enjoy that. And I'm going to move on into another lesson in this particular class, which is how to make fish velouté sauce from this.